take you somewhere else, why not? Go forth. I share jobs with them. When their jobs come up, I put it in a group, I share with them, tell them, guys, go for it. In fact, there's a time when I was very annoyed with them because the turnover in this school was and is very low.
Okay. People are not leaving.
There's a year or two that people are not leaving, and I was like, guys, man, don't they ask me kuluna tufukuza? So you see what they call the market, the agora, right? Where the guys used to meet, and they would talk. What you could nowadays call stories are jabba. You guys meet and talk.
Yes.
And just talk. But that's where the discourse was. And basically these guys in a base. So the base where these guys are is where the discourse is.
Yes.
And when you hear those kind of reasoning, and here you are with all these books read and whatever kind of thing, and the guy just tells you that whatever you're chasing is not helping you.
It's not helping.
It's not helping because you're in a hurry. You're not paying attention, details to whatever you're doing.
So what did you do?
No, actually, I had to call myself to a meeting and say, whoa, this guy has a point that I'm missing. I'm not who I am, I was before.
Yes.
And I'm missing the point. And the point is not even to feed them.
No.
The point is to connect. That's all they want. They just want a connection. And me being not a street person, they found that connection to be real. As in, someone who's not a street person, someone who's not a preacher, someone who's not religious, can just come and sit with us and
have a conversation.
Yes, and have a conversation. Can source food for us, cannot judge us because the time will reach when I stopped completely trying to change them, and just be with us. So that one becomes another learning beyond borders, completely, as in unscripted, not in the curriculum and everything, but you know what you're doing is actually you are teaching this guy something. He's teaching you something. You're learning from each other. Yeah.
So we have the streets and we have the class.
Yeah.
And you have to know how to balance both, because of course that connection that is different. Again, in class you need another different connection. The students that you teach, the ones that you mentor, all of them, they demand a certain connection. So do you find these two connections similar, or are they different because of where the origin of where these kids are coming from, where these other kids are coming from? Is there a similarity, or is it different?
Back to rule number one. Keep it human.
Yes.
So because you're dealing with human beings, the connection is the same. Because it's a question I've been asked so many times, and I find that even the ones who are able, the ones who are privileged, they crave for love.
Okay.
They crave for acceptance.
All right.
They crave for acknowledgement. They crave for feedback. They crave for time. Right? It's the same thing on the streets. Those guys crave for love. They crave for time. They crave for acknowledgement. It's exactly the same thing. The only difference is that now one curriculum is scripted, right? And there's order. The other curriculum, School of Hard Knocks, is not scripted.
It's not.
Yes. And then the end product is different as well. Because now we're looking at these ones getting into the regular, society, jobs, and whatever. And this one, we have no idea where they're going to end up. Okay. So that connection is the same.
Okay.
Is the same. And if I ignore a kid on the streets and I ignore a kid off the streets,
right,
it's the same thing.
It's the same.
Their reaction, rejection, they react exactly the same.
The same.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So love, feedback, connection,
acknowledgement.
Treat them as human beings.
Exactly.
Now, and that takes me to the other one. How do you package kids or students that you're teaching currently in the current curriculum, how do you package them for international standards? Because most of them definitely usually leave the country to either go for scholarships in different countries around the world, and after that probably they get jobs and careers in different parts of the world. But at this particular point, as a head of the school, how do you train and get them ready for that market?
Back to the four pillars. The four pillars is one component of it. So industriousness, hard work will just keep on make sure that character formation also comes with values. So core values, kind of respect, integrity, all those things come with it.
Okay.
And then sports and talent. Everyone has got a talent in something. Well, so can you identify it and go with it? And community service learning or responsibility.
All right.
Can you ensure that wherever you are, you get back to those people?
Okay.
So those four have been the driving force. However, I've spent 4 years at this Regis McKinney. I'm very particular about that because we're in that process whereby we built a brand, and the brand was eventually getting to fruition, and it's going to get to that fruition, whereby the moment a student enters here and leaves, what do we expose them in 1 year? Okay. So in 1 year, we have crafted something that I call the Excellencia series.
All right.
And the Excellencia series has got 3 components. One is academics, the other one is performing arts, and the third one is community service.
All right.
Learning, right?
Yes.
So in academics, everything that goes on within the curriculum, but what goes on outside the curriculum, I have got 3 competitions: Maths Decathlon, right, which takes part in first term.
Okay.
I've got Language Fiesta, which takes part in second term. And Language Fiesta is creative writing, spelling bee, Scrabble, poetry recitation, all put together, kind of way. And the third, and academia, is 10. So the kids throughout the year, they're taken through this as an additive to what they're learning, the curriculum. These 3 are not in the curriculum.
Okay.
And then now the second one, which is performing arts, those performing arts and sports. Sports, they've got ball games, they've got swimming, so they take part in competitive tournaments and all that within the school,
right,
before going outside the school. So everything is looking at internal. Okay. And then finally is performing arts, and we have music, drama, dance, and all that, and community service. So all these come to 10 disciplines, including community service learning. So any person who has gone through here for, let's say, 5 years or 10 years and everything, gets into this one: I am somebody, right? I take part in a competition collaboratively or individually and everything. By the end that I'm leaving and I'm going out, I view the world differently, completely. 1 is I'm confident, 2 is I'm bold, 3 I am exposed, So anywhere in the world they go, I believe that all these 10 fields, they can fit into any.
Mm-hmm.
Then we start very early. We start as early as kindergarten, where we have the kindergarten musicals. So we start exposing them to stage very early. Okay, and the competitions as well. The spelling bees, standing there and spelling words, So it's a Scrabble and all these things, right? By the time 5 years, 10 years have gone, this child is actually confident and no doubts about it. They fit anywhere in the world completely.
Yes.
They're given any curriculum or any situation, they'll be able to handle it. They'll be able to unpack it. So that's how we prepare our students.
So as a head of a school, do you take time to look at what other schools are doing around the world, and do you borrow a few ideas and concepts and then try them in the school, so that, of course, once they leave here, there's a transition, they can be able to connect and just join in other schools around the world?
Yeah, that we do. I'll give you an example of the different math competitions in the world. Right?
Yes.
There's Sigma, there's I don't know what. So they're different ones. So I went and checked them out.
Okay.
And I said, okay, fine. So why don't we come up with our own?
Right,
which is Maths Decathlon.
Aha.
Okay, the spelling bee, the famous American spelling bee
competition.
It is there.
Yes.
But it is individual. So how can we tweak that and not make it individual, but make it teamwork?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
And then Scrabble is there. But now, when I put all those into what we call, should I say, what, a buffet, then I make, now Language Fiesta is our creation, but based on things that are happening in other places in the world.
That's
So
true.
we create Language Fiesta.
Yes.
STEM also, it's there everywhere. But how can we create it so that it becomes our own? So
Right.
we check what other schools are doing, but we customize it,
Yeah.
and now we own it. And now we've come up with that brand, which is now ours.
You've never left the. I don't see you leaving the country. You've never left the country. Would you call yourself an international-minded teacher if you've not left the country? And why haven't you left the country?
I almost left about 10 years, not 10 years, about 15 years ago.
Okay.
I got a chance to go to Qatar.
Wow.
I got a job actually, but the downside is that they said I could not go with the family.
Wow.
So I said no. That one is tricky. You know,
Yes.
the money was very good.
Yeah.
At that particular time. So that's the only time that I came close to that.
Yes.
And I don't consider myself internationally minded. I just consider myself a teacher,
Yes.
right? Who
Yes.
has got a very simple mission: is impact your local environment and
Okay.
community.
Yes.
Once you do that, that local environment and community is the one which will ripple effect impact the rest of the world.
Yes.
So if I get, if one of my kids, or one of my students, or one of the, whatever I'm working with, if one becomes an innovator, I'll be, okay, we went through this, you innovated this, becomes a conscious, minded politician, well and good.
Yeah.
You know, kind of, right?
Yeah.
So I don't look at international, local, whatever kind of thing. It's just that I've got these ones. My vocation, my mission is to work with these kids, and that's what I'm going to work with, and that's what I work with.
So since you've not left and you're not leaving anytime
I'm not
soon,
leaving.
what about the teachers who desire to leave the country
Oh.
and experience teaching in other parts of the world? And probably some of them are your employees. How do you mold them or mentor them or get them prepared for the international market?
Okay. I also have to go back again to my stratum, because those guys came from other countries to influence and mentor us,
Yes.
and I thank them for that.
Yes.
So if my people want to go, I encourage them. In fact, at this place we've got a very, very vigorous continuous professional development program. And one of the things that we got into was called the 1 million teacher program.
1 million teacher program.
Yes,
Okay.
which should I say what? It was a workshop, online workshop, virtual, and the teachers got like 10 different lessons
Yes.
spanning over 3 months.
Okay.
An amazing kind of. So I told them, listen, build yourself, guys. You have to build yourself. All these things that we are doing is to build yourself.
Yeah.
Now, if you build yourself and you find that your wings take you somewhere else, why not? Go forth. I share jobs with them. When their jobs come up, I put it in a group. I share with them, tell them, guys, go for it. In fact, there's a time when I was very annoyed with them because the turnover in this school was and is very low.
Okay.
I think
People are not leaving.
There's a year or two that people are not leaving, and I was like, guys, man, don't they ask me kuluna tufukuza? I'm not chasing you away.
Yeah.
I want you guys to fly. You become too comfortable. You're already internationally minded, and
Yes.
we trained you.
Yes.
I mean, the things that we've introduced about novel study, maths decathlon, language fiesta, you know, performing arts, musicals, all those things that I consider international schools do, but which I consider a normal school should be doing. They were all exposed to it, and I told them, guys, go, mental maths, you know, like all those things. Now, this year we had, I think, about 6 teachers who left,
Okay.
and they've all gone to international schools.
It's amazing.
3 of them have left the country.
Yes.
And I was like, hallelujah. So that gives me a chance now to absorb others, train them. The other thing I forgot is that we have an internship program for teachers who have just finished college, or either graduated or waiting to graduate. So we take them for 1 year and we mentor them. So they become part of our system. This is the 3rd year we're on cohort 3.
Right.
So over the last 3 years, we've impacted about 50 teachers, and then we release them to go. Some of them we absorb. So I'm very particular about that. If you can go, enter.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, my favorite quote. I'd like you to speak to the 20-year-old Odijo or the 20-year-old Cliff. You remember him, right? How he was.
He had hair.
He had some hair.
Yeah, it's a lot of hair.
And with the experience and the knowledge that you already have, I'd like you to talk to the 20-year-old Cliff. The 20-year-old Cliff is going to be, of course, our marvelous audience. Someone somewhere who does not have a mentor, who doesn't know how to get started. They don't know that they can continue, learning even without going to school. The style of Aristotle and Plato. Someone who's probably stuck in one location for like 10-15 years. They've never even left the country. They don't know what the other parts of the world they're doing. Maybe someone who doesn't know that the next slum is actually an opportunity to impact that particular slum and teach beyond the border. So speak to the camera and speak to that young Cliff who probably had no idea of what you've achieved today.
Okay. So the 20-year-old me. An interesting one. Well, I'll just say, look for something different to do. All right. Right. Just look for something different to do. At the age of 20 years, volunteer your time, volunteer your resources. At times we think that money is everything, but we don't realize that with the 2 feet we have and the 2 hands we have and the head on our shoulders, we can do a lot.
Yeah.
So from the age, for the age of 16 to up to now, let me say, even at the age of 20, every Sunday I used to go to Mother Teresa's home in Huruma, every Sunday, and just clip the nails of the old guys, shave them, wash them, and make them feel kind of good. And I didn't have anything. I came from Islam and we didn't have anything at that particular time. So, spare your time for something in the community. That's number one. Number two, find out what your talent is. If it is sports, singing, whatever your talent is. Take advantage of that and progress your talent to the next level. And finally, this is always my favorite quote as well. So I'll say, at the age of 20, you have some 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds who are looking up to you, just the way you are looking up to someone, right? So my favorite quote has always been that there are great people who have gone before you. Emulate them. There are great people amongst you, your age mates. Be one of them. And the great people who will come after you, inspire them. Thank you.
Wow. The great people who've already gone, emulate them, follow them. And the great people who are amongst you, do that?
Be one of them.
Be one of them. Are you one of them? Are you a great person? Do you want to be a great person? Are you working with great people? This is Odijo. See you again, teaching beyond borders. Asante sana Bwana Cliff.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Asante.